Yeah, there it is. Start record there. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I think it's recording now.
All right.
So, like, I guess tell about yourself and like
Yeah.
who.
My name is Sachin. I've been working in law enforcement for the last 18 years. I'm a law enforcement officer. I'm a canine handler. Work with dogs.
Nice.
But over the last couple years, I've been focused on getting after it, and I don't know, pushing myself to different levels. So what I mean by that, well, I mean, like everyone else during the pandemic, everyone was affected, right? Like everyone kind of just sitting around, not doing too much with the lockdowns and things like that. And like a lot of people, I was affected massively by it, like mentally. And and so at the time, I was really just lifting and doing jujitsu. Like I'm a jujitsu guy, so I was doing that for a while. And then the pandemic hit and lockdowns, and I wasn't able to obviously do jujitsu, so that really messed with me. And I was also going through a divorce and a separation at the same time,
Damn.
and lost my, like, going through that process of like finances and all that kind of stuff. Everything kind of happening all at the same time. And during that time, I was like super depressed, like mentally, like in a really dark spot, like a lot of people probably have experienced it, and maybe you have too, where you're so feel isolated and alone,
Yeah.
that no
Like
one's really paying.
like you're kind of like numb to everything.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like, and I have a daughter, right? So that wasn't like, my daughter's 5, and for me to be super numb and not really engaged is not an option, right? So I was trying to figure out how to get out of that funk, and the only thing I could come up with is running, because I had gotten Goggins' book. I see you got his shirt, and I read the first couple chapters, to be honest, and I stopped because I was like, all right, fuck it. Like, I hate running. Let's just try running. So I hadn't run. I'm 44, right? So I hadn't ran in 25 years since high school. I used to be a bodybuilder too, so I my cardio was like non-existent, right? Like walking and stuff like that. And from there, bodybuilding, I did jujitsu, and then I thought my cardio was good by doing jujitsu, but running is a whole different thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so I started off like not doing much running at all. Like I did maybe 3 times a week. I would just start with like 5K, like a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, just to do that. And my times, just starting out like 35, 40 minutes. Like I wasn't doing anything crazy. But like a lot of people who may be hard chargers or may have some obsessive mentality, I kind of went all in with it, and I kind of grinded it out because I needed a distraction with all the shit that was going on in my life, and so I just got after it. And then within a couple months of running, I just pushed myself to do 21K, and I did that. And then I started seeing some progress, like in terms of my development with the running and stuff. And I was like, you know what, man, like. I should be able. I should push this even further and see if I can marry, doing positivity and training at the same time. So I started thinking, how can I do that? And then what came up for me was pretty simple. I spent some time in the military, and then I'm also in law enforcement now. And I personally do suffer from mental health issues, anxiety, depression, and a lot of my friends and colleagues and people I know have PTSD and things like that. So I thought, you know what, man, I'm gonna set a goal to run 100K, and raise money for charity for veterans and first responders, for mental health issues. So in 2021, November of last year, November 7th, I trained myself and I ran from one city to another in my area, about 100 kilometers. So there's a city called Chilliwack. It's like a farming area. And I
Okay.
ran all the way to the Vancouver airport, which is about 100 kilometers. And I did that in under 15 hours. And it was all road, like it was on the road, right? And but our area is kind of hilly. There's a lot of mountains out here and stuff. So um, I did that, and I raised $21,000 for veterans and first responders for PTSD issues. And honestly, bro, when that happened, man, like I was still kind of fucked up in my own head. Like I wasn't really, like I was still messed, right? But after I did that, that changed my entire perspective in life and my goals. So for me now, I've set a massive goal for myself and for the collective as a whole, because I feel like for me, I'm in a time and I have an opportunity that I can maximize my skill sets at this point. And I have somewhat of flexibility. You know, I'm divorced. I don't really have a house anymore, so I kind of like I have flexibility to train more and like maybe spend more time doing what I'm doing. So you know, this whole year I've been running ultras. Like I've done 6 or 7 different ultras this year, trying to raise money for a local charity for us here in Vancouver area. It's called Honor House, and it's a charity that again supports veterans and first responders with PTSD. And I'm raising $30,000 for them this year by running. So like all these different events, ultras I've done, we've raised about 6,000 so far. I have a few more events coming up. So end of this month, August 27th, I'm running a Spartan Ultra, 21 kilometer. It's about 30 obstacles. I've never done anything like that, so I was like, fuck it, let's see.
I wanted to try Spartan Ultra.
Yeah, so I'll let you know how it is, man. Like I'm doing it at the end of the month, never done it, so we'll see how that goes. And then in the middle, at the end of September, I'm doing a charity event with some local police officers here that over 4 days, we're going to run 140 kilometers to raise money and awareness for fallen colleagues. And then October 16th, I'm flying to Toronto, which is a really big city here in Canada. And they have a marathon called the Toronto Waterfront Marathon. So it's the biggest marathon in the city. And so I'm pacing someone out there, again, raising the awareness and whatnot for what we're doing. And then again, November 6th, I'm doing my 100-kilometer run again, the one I did last year. So I'm going to make it a yearly thing. And again, we're going to do another 100K and raise a ton of money. So all of this stuff that I'm doing is essentially, yeah, I'm raising money for charity and bringing awareness, but also grinding myself and then also training at the same time for my ultimate goal, which is in 2025. 2025, I want to run across Canada to break the Trans-Canada record for the fastest run across Canada. And so that, put it in perspective for anyone who might be listening, is from coast to coast in Canada is 7,300 kilometers. So I don't know what that is in miles, 5,000 or something. I don't know, something crazy, yeah. Right? And there'll be some elevation, obviously. I mean, you're running across the country. But the goal, the current record for the fastest time across Canada is 67 days, 10 hours. Yeah. So that's like, I think that's about 105, 106 kilometers per day for 67 days. So my goal is to continue training to break that record, to do it in 65 days. That would be about 108 to 110 kilometers a day for 65 days. Now, having said that, I don't know if I could do that. But what I'm doing is I'm leaving my job. I'm taking a leave of absence so that I can train full time for the next 2 years to see if I can actually do it. So I'm all in now. I've hired coaches. I'm trying to get sponsorships. I'm doing all these things to basically turn myself into like an actual athlete to do these things. And, the reality is I don't know if I could beat the record, but I'll get pretty darn close, I think. And if I could run, let's say 80 or 90 kilometers a day for, let's say 80 days, well, I mean, shit, man, like 3 years ago, I never ran. So I think that's a phenomenal story we can share with people. Be like, you can go from nothing, and then in a short period of time with a little bit of focus and a little bit of grit, you can do some exceptional things, and exceptional things not just for yourself, but for other people. So you can do both at the same time, like not just serve yourself, but serve others. Exactly. And I know for myself, with my mental health kind of issues, it's helped me a great deal, not just, working out, but serving other people. For me, like helping other people or serving them with my skill sets and what I'm good at, it gives me it just makes me feel good, right? And for me, I don't need a ton of money. As long as my bills are paid and I can get to do what I'm doing and help other people, man, I'm stoked. But the reality, I think, on this journey, doing whatever I'm doing, and YouTube channel will eventually start and all these kind of things. I mean, shit, man, who knows? Maybe one day someone will be wearing my t-shirt. You never know, right? Yeah. Anything's possible. But yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell, man. Like kind of what I'm doing and what I've been doing over the last really 2 years and what my plans are for the next 2 years ahead. Actually, I'll tell you straight up, man, when I first started running and doing this stuff, I had three real goals at the very, very beginning when I was grinding all alone by myself. No one was watching. Like that first year, I wasn't even on social media. I was just doing everything all alone.
Yeah.
And then since last year is when I started really blasting things out. So it's been more popular. But when I was grinding all by myself and alone, man, it was like, it wasn't as fun. Right. I mean, you can imagine. But you know, I think eventually, once this is all said and done, hopefully we can help some more people. I mean, I'm working on a documentary movie too to kind of track what we're doing. And like I was saying, the goals that I had at the beginning when I was in darkness doing all this had 3. And my goal hasn't really changed in terms of running across Canada. It's always been the same, to raise money for raise $1 million and all that kind of stuff. And one goal was, while I'm running across Canada, I want Cameron Hanes to run one leg of the run with me. And the reason behind that is, I mean, you can imagine, like I listened to Joe Rogan. I heard Cam Hanes a few years ago on there, and I was like, that kind of sparked my attention in the sense, like, he's in his 50s and he's running a marathon a day. So while I was training by myself and alone, I was trying to find ways to push myself, right? And I didn't know anything about running. It was new to me. So I listened to guys like him, and I was like, fuck, man, he's in his 50s and he can do a marathon a day. I should be able to do that. Why can't I do that? And it wasn't a negative thing. It wasn't like me trying to shit on myself. It was more like, okay, how can I get to that level?
Like, so it's like, instead of looking at people as like above you, and you're like, if they can do it, then why can't I do it?
Exactly. So I try not to put them on pedestals. I respect them, but I want to learn what they did to do that. So, for example, like Nims Dai, the guy who did that movie 14 Peaks on Netflix. So I want to know what got him to do that, what mentally pushed him to get there. So Cam Hanes, I want to run 50K with him across Canada, and I'll make that happen. That's one of my vision statements that I want to have. The second person, obviously Goggins, I want to have him run one leg with me, and I'll make that shit happen too. Because I would have never started running had I never read those first 2 chapters of his book. Just essentially saying, do something that you don't want to do. And I didn't want to run. So that was the basic level. And to be honest, I haven't finished his book. I'll probably get back to it at some point. Okay. But,
you should do the audio book version, because it's got like extra stuff after each chapter. They like talk.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll get that then. And then the final person I want to meet in 2026, I'm going to be on Joe Rogan's podcast. That's another goal of mine, just because and not because I want to get clout or anything. It's because for me, watching that podcast showed me some things that I never knew were possible. Like, meeting a Cam Hanes. I would have never known Cam Hanes even existed if it wasn't a Joe Rogan. I would have never known that Goggins was a person if it wasn't for Joe Rogan. So it's, I feel blessed to have watched those people and learned from them from a distance. And when I'm done doing what I'm doing, raising millions of dollars for people that need it here in this country in Canada, I think it would be awesome if I could maybe share that with those people, because I think for them, that would also be some food for their soul, right? Some guy listened to them and did something that helped a whole shit ton of people. I think would be good feedback for them, I think. So. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, bro. How you been, man? What have you been up to?
I love all that. Like, yeah, I've always been just interested in like finding my fullest capabilities in order to like share that. They're like, others are more like, they have more in them than they think. So
yeah,
like, I want to get as big as you and like break stereotypes as far as like being big on a vegan diet, but being able to run these insane distances and like all sorts of different stuff I have in my head.
Like, it's just all about testing yourself and but doing it in a smart way and in a way that. So how I kind of think of it is like, you always want to try to evolve or try to get better. Like, you always want to do your best, and your best may not be amazing, but that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as you're always doing your best, as long as you're always trying, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
Also, and just not taking everything so seriously.
Yeah, man. Like now I'm at the point where I'm enjoying the runs now. Before I was like, fuck this. I don't want to do this. Fuck this shit. But now it's like, you know what? Okay, let's go for